So with all the Knick trade rumors this season, it's great to touch on the business side of the game, as the days of the bigger market NBA teams just buying up stars and not caring about paying luxury tax are over. The local side of the NBA TV money has definitely taken a hit, and right here in this segment, we're going to get great insight from an NBA reporter to how the Knicks this season are operating in a $40 million loss compared to last year. That very same scenario when it comes to the local TV money has forced Jeannie Buss and her family to sell the Lakers, as they'll eventually end up in the same situation. So the NBA is definitely restructuring on how it's doing business, more like an NFL style, where every team, as far as the media money, kind of makes the same amount. And in the second part of this segment, we'll hear directly from James Dolan as he acknowledges this situation. And you got to wonder, MSG Networks did give the Knicks the leverage to kind of distance themselves versus other franchises when it comes to not only their spending, but just being that world-class franchise. But it's going to be a nice mixed bag with this one, as we'll touch base on the new business model for a lot of these NBA franchises that want to kind of separate themselves from the pack. But to kick it off, we're going to hear from NBA insider Brian Windhorst as he gives great details on how the Knicks are operating at a $40 million loss and how that ties into Jeannie Buss and her family looking at the forest through the trees and selling the Lakers. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
And the second reason they sold is because local television in America is collapsing, and the Lakers have been untouched by it, but they will be touched by it. So almost every pro sports team in America has had to take a pay cut from their local TV deal, basically with the exception of the Lakers. Last year, for example, the New York Knicks made $141 million. And the same company that owns the Knicks local TV deal and that owns the Knicks is the same company. Mm-hmm. And the company went into bankruptcy, and they had to cut the Knicks by about $40 million. The Knicks are getting $40 million less this year than they did last year. The Knicks, or the parent company, owns both. The Lakers got about $200 million last year, and they're going to get the $200 million this year, okay? And the real differentiation between a team like the Lakers and the Grizzlies is that local TV money. The Grizzlies make $11 million a year. The Lakers make $200 million. They compete for the same conference.
Now, the only reason the Lakers are still getting the 200 because they're locked in that deal. But the company that they partner with in order to do that television deal is going through some financial difficulty. So it's only a matter of time before they really be in the same situation as the Knicks.
And now, if Jeannie was here, she would say, well, we have to share that money. We share the money with the players. Yes. You share the money with the partners. Yes. It's not dollar for dollar. But that is the Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams get the same check, okay? Because it's all shared. What differentiates the Lakers financially is that local TV deal. And the local TV, the company is for sale.
And the same thing would apply here for the Knicks. MSG Networks is really what gave them that separation versus other franchises. But these financial difficulties are striking all broadcast networks locally. It's not just sports.
The Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams get the same check, okay? Because it's all shared. What differentiates the Lakers financially is that local TV deal. And the local TV, the company is for sale, okay? And so they are under threat. And so in Baxter's story, he said that the Buss family each got between $3 and $5 million a year. Like, that was their salary. Mm-hmm. And they don't have maybe they have other investments where they don't have other jobs. Like, Jeannie's job is running the Lakers, and she gets a salary for being the president. But that's it. When a billionaire buys a team, if the team loses $50 million, fine. He's got his other businesses. It's the Lakers family business. So here we have the Knicks, who are comparable to the Lakers, taking a 33% pay cut. The Lakers were facing that. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but very soon.
And low-key, because they're mom and pop business, they really couldn't afford that. That family was already paying higher taxes than usual after their father had passed away, because he was grandfathered in for the Lakers to pay Los Angeles County at a lower tax rate. So once he passed away, their tax bill went from $67 million to, I believe, like $1.3 billion.
Knicks, who are comparable to the Lakers, taking a 33% pay cut. The Lakers were facing that. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but very soon. So they were facing a situation where their local TV, which differentiates the Lakers from everybody else, was under threat, and the valuations exploded. Teams went from selling for, 2-3 billion to selling for 6 billion. They get 10 billion. That's why they sold.
Again, that local TV money is really drying up. Half the NBA teams in the league got caught up in that Bally Sports fiasco with them filing for bankruptcy. And the NBA, after pivoting those 15 teams to a different type of distribution with FanDuel, even they ended up running into financial issues. So with that said, this is why we're seeing teams like the Golden State Warriors, their business model is sort of like the new blueprint, where you have your arena and you have a whole ecosystem built around it. The Dumont family that recently purchased the Dallas Mavericks are trying to apply that same blueprint, except more than likely, they're going to add an additional casino on that property. Owning an NBA team today for these new class of billionaires coming into the league, the teams themselves are just a vehicle for them to actually own a complex portfolio of just real estate. Again, the Dumont family, when they talk about the Mavericks, they're talking about they want to make a world-class ecosystem around the arena where it's fine dining, shopping, hotels. The Golden State Warriors right now kind of have the same setup, and they even dived into the commercial real estate. I believe a few tech companies have a couple leases with them. So this is how a lot of teams are going to start to separate themselves. And a lot of that money that's being generated does not have to go into that shared revenue pot with the luxury tax. Things are definitely changing with the league very fast, and James Dolan spoke on it. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
It's evolving, right? I don't think that. I think over the long term, you're probably not going to get your games from the cable company. They're probably going to
app specific.
They're going to be streaming,
right?
Yeah. You'll get a bunch of games nationally, right? About 30 out of 80, and the rest will come to you streaming, and that's just it's just the evolution of media.
That's that NFL model. Every team gets the same amount of money. It's going to be very interesting to see how James Dolan pivots from this, because that Golden State Warrior blueprint is insane, and it could lead up to a possible move out of MSG. Right now, today's consumers don't want to necessarily pay $300 for an MSG app to watch the Knicks game. The value proposition doesn't even make any sense. Putting down that type of amount of money just for one team when you can get Netflix for almost half the price or any other streaming service. And it's just not the local sports teams. ESPN also tried to do the same thing with Fox Sports and TNT, but under court ruling, they were actually rejected from doing so due to monopoly reasons. And overall, the whole media landscape it's consolidating, shit is changing, and money's it's a lot more scarce. This right here does have an effect on teams trying not to overload their rosters with expensive players to hit that second apron. Owners want to win, but they definitely don't want to shell out a ton of money when the business already is taking a bunch of losses than the previous year. That's why this Giannis situation is very complicated. It's not only for the Knicks, but whoever they're making the trade with. Whether it be the Bucks, the Hawks, the Lakers, it's a tough position for everybody. Look at Anthony Davis in Dallas. They would love to get rid of him, but there's really no takers. It is what it is. You fellas definitely hit up the link in the description below. Check out the Knicks True Story playlist and also the Knicks Hardwood Nuances. It's a little bit of the game film mixed in with the storytelling. And until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.